Good afternoon, English 1101 class. This is Chris Larkins.
And Ollie Peterson.
And here we are presenting Lemonade, Beyonce's latest visual album. So let's get started. So Lemonade is all tied with the Black feminist movement and is a movement in pursuit of ending the oppression of black women. And this is categorized into three major categories: the economic oppression, political oppression, and ideological oppression. And so, of course, with economically, it comes from the oppression of the classic enslavement legacy of American culture, the political oppression of not being able to vote or hold office or have an education, and of course, the ideological oppression of simply racism and not having or allowing black women into leadership roles in American culture. And so these forms have oppressed the social control of black women in America's culture. So from here, we have, where did black feminism come from? Who started it? And so Maria Stewart was the first African American female activist, and in 1831 she said this famous quote: "Shall it be any longer be said of the daughters of Africa, they have no ambition, they have no force?" she questioned. "By no means. Let every female heart become united." And so from her inspiration in the early 19th century, many other female intellectuals sparked more of the black feminist movement. And so activists like Sojourner Truth and Cooper, Ida Wells Barnett, Toni Morrison, and many others all followed in her footsteps, and they called on women, especially black women, to fight against the oppression that culture had put on them. So from there we have the exclusion of black feminist thoughts. And so we have two different groups, and we have the poor education and the race and gender stereotypes that were put onto black women. Of course, they couldn't have an education, and they often couldn't even receive an income. If they worked, it was a very, very poor income. And so from this, through generations and generations, black women were limited in their abilities and their opportunities. And so from here, this oppression had to be fought against, and that's where we see a lot of these intellectuals were leaders and inspirers like Maria Stewart, not formal authors. So from here, we have, of course, once again, the two different groups of isolation of black women. And this comes on the front of racism and sexism. So first, with racism, we have the Western feminist movement and the black women being secluded from that. We have Nancy Chodorow and the sexual socialization. With her work, she often focused on middle-class white families and left out black women or black families. And of course, with Calvin Harrington in this quote, and saying that women are even counterproductive to the historical goal of the black struggle. Finally, the modern black feminism movement can be seen most through the Combahee River Collective statement. And this group of women, they're inspired, they're fired, they're ready to go to fight against this oppression that they see that still goes on in today's society. And this oppression has led to works against sterilization abuse, abortion rights, battered women, rape and healthcare, and many other things. And this is a very diverse group, and they're very active and prominent. And from here, we have Ollie with the Lemonade video album.
Here we have an image from the second song on the album, and it's titled Anger, Don't Hurt Yourself. In this, we can hear a recording of Malcolm X saying, "The most disrespected person in America is the black woman, disrespected, unprotected, and neglected." This is the first time on the album we see that Beyonce is not just speaking about herself and her personal experiences, but also trying to convey feelings of black women throughout the United States and the world. In Apathy, Sorry, we see Beyonce sitting on a bus alongside women with their faces painted by a Nigerian-American artist. There are also scenes with Beyonce sitting on a throne with Serena Williams twerking next to her, shown on the left. Both of these images are very powerful and show strong, confident black women. A line in this song is, "He killed her and took her for granted." By combining this line with the scenes of powerful women, Beyonce tries to explain how society does not fully recognize this strength and beauty. Instead, we undermine it and take it for granted. The most important part to take away from Resurrection Forward is that these are not just random women holding images of random boys. They are the mothers of people like Trayvon Martin and Michael Brown holding pictures of their sons who were killed by the police. So, this song pretty directly relates to the Black Lives Matter movement in a lot of our class discussions the past week or so. The song Hope, Freedom is definitely a very powerful part of the album. Beyonce features young black performers and dancers showcasing their talents on a stage. These young artists represent the voices of the new and upcoming generation and how they have a blank slate in front of them to voice their opinions and actually make a difference against the injustices in our society. In Redemption All Night, we finally figure out where this visual album got its name. In the opening moments of the song, Jay-Z's grandma gives a speech with the lines, "I was served lemons, but I made lemonade," which kind of sums up the Black feminist motives and ideals behind this album. This line spreads the message that if someone is unhappy with what is in front of them, they have the power to change that if they want to. And while this message applies to everyone, it brings together generations of Black women who have to deal with these societal setbacks and struggles in their everyday lives. Beyoncé is calling on everyone to get off their feet and make a difference to break down the systematic injustices in our country today, whether it be race, class, or gender. Thank you so much for listening to our presentation. Now let's join the discussion about Black feminism and lemonade.